Hello there from Jakarta, the capital of Indonesia. Third time's a charm, right? I've already been here twice. The first time being in July 2021, during the height of the pandemic. I spent a couple days here in Jakarta, and I tried to make my way over here after I got out of my quarantine, and well, I was denied. But this right here is what I wanted to go see. If I'm able to, I can see there's maybe some police barricades or something set up over here, so it might be closed actually. You see, like I said, that was during the height of the pandemic. Everyone was wearing 2 masks, even myself. And well, the National Monument was closed. I came back last year around this time, and after I got out of my quarantine that time, I made my way over here thinking surely it's open. All the malls are open. A lot of the places are we're finally opening back up. But no, the National Monument, this area was still closed. Open or closed?
Closed.
Oh my gosh. I know, again?
COVID-19.
For some reason, you could go into malls, you could go into enclosed places, but you couldn't come walk around this huge place outside. But here I am today, finally able to come check out Monas, the National Monument of Indonesia. And well, it's starting to rain on me, damn it. That ain't cool. But yeah, I'm here. I could talk about the story of Indonesia's independence, but I feel like I've told that story a million times in my videos. You know, since last year, I've traveled all over Indonesia and I've spoken about the struggle for independence here in Indonesia quite often. So that's not going to be the main topic for today's video. Instead, we're going to talk about something that I don't think a whole lot of Indonesians really know about, especially the younger generations. I certainly didn't know about it, and I'm not trying to brag, but I've read quite a bit about Indonesia and its history. And when I learned about this, I was pretty shocked, but not necessarily surprised. And so today we're going to talk about a man named Tan Malaka. He was the father of the Republic of Indonesia. Yeah, he was given the name the father of the Republic of Indonesia, and yet younger generations here in Indonesia, a lot of people don't know who he is. Tan Malaka was one of the revolutionary fighters and political figures who fought alongside Sukarno and Hatta during the Revolutionary Wars. He was the first person to come up with the idea, the concept of a free and independent Indonesia. All right, this is getting annoying. Yeah, the man who first came up with the idea of what a independent and free Indonesia would look like. You will not hear his name anywhere here in Indonesia. You will not see statues of this man. You will not see street signs with his name on it anywhere. You will not see tugus. You will not see monuments. It's like he was erased from history here in Indonesia. Because that was, in a lot of ways, done on purpose. Okay, where can we get out of this rain? Okay, let's go over here. All right, where was I? Tan Malaka, the man who, through politics, has been erased in Indonesia. A man whose legacy has been blacked out of the textbooks here in Indonesia. I mean, it's crazy to think that a man who, basically sacrificed his life to fight for the complete freedom and independence here in Indonesia has been, in a lot of ways, completely forgotten. I didn't know anything about Tom Malacca until I went to Tangkahan, and Adi, the guy that I met there, I don't know, we were talking about Indonesia, talking about Sukarno and things like that, and he was like, no, Sukarno, he's not, the only founding father of Indonesia. He's not the most important. He was like, Tom Malacca, and I was like, who are you talking about? I've never heard of this Tom Malacca. He's like, no, he's the father of Indonesia. And sure enough, he has the name, Bapa Republik Indonesia. And so I go back, I get on my computer, I start Googling Tom Malacca on YouTube. There's tons of videos, but there's zero videos on Tom Malacca in English. Nothing. There's plenty of videos in Indonesian. So I encourage anyone who wants to learn more about him, please go watch those videos. But even his books, Tom Malacca wrote a lot of books about his vision for Indonesia, and it was these books that Sukarno read and Hatta read, and even Sukarno was, when he was arrested in Bandung in 1931, it was because he was holding, he was reading one of Tom Malacca's books, a book that was banned by the Dutch. And so, Tom Malacca was wanted by the Dutch, he was wanted by the Japanese, he was wanted by the Americans. It's a guy who had like 23 false names. He was on the run all the time. He was been put in exile, and unfortunately, his life came to an end in 1949. Towards the end of the independence war here in Indonesia. So how is it that a man that was so influential in shaping the idea of what a free and independent Indonesia would look like, a man that was declared by Sukarno himself that if anything were to happen to him and Hatta, he would be the leader of the revolution. Sukarno in 1945 wrote a testament and said, if Sukarno and Hatta were assassinated, then Tom Malacca would be the new leader of the revolution. How is it that that man will probably not be mentioned at all in the museum here at the National Monument? Like I said earlier, you won't see statues of him, you won't see his name anywhere. It's crazy. Why is that? Well, Tom Malacca was a communist. He, in 1920, helped form the first ever communist party outside of Russia, the first one in Asia, even before the Chinese Communist Party. He helped fight, and he helped bring people together, and his whole idea was to gather the masses. And one thing he didn't like about Sukarno and Hatta was how they compromised and always wanted to negotiate with the Dutch and the Japanese. And even when the Dutch came back, and Sukarno and Hatta, they even signed 2 treaties, 2 ceasefires, 2 agreements with the Dutch. That was not what Tom Malacca wanted. Tom Malacca wanted 100% independence, and he was not about compromising, he was not about negotiating. And that's where Sukarno and Tom Malacca probably butted heads and probably had a disagreement. Tom Malacca has such a cool name too, Tom Malacca. Tom Malacca actually comes from a pretty prominent, are the police coming to get me for talking about communism maybe? Because in a lot of ways, that's a big no-no. We'll get to that in a second here in Indonesia. The C word is, you can't talk about that. But Tom Malacca, he actually came from a pretty lucky and prominent family. And he, at a young age, was sent to the Netherlands, to Holland, he was able actually to learn about world history and other revolutions that had taken place around the world. He learned about socialism. He was a Marxist. And so he took those ideas back to Indonesia and tried to implement them. And so, yeah, it's not hard to imagine how the idea of socialism and communism would appeal to, I don't know, a country that is looking for independence and looking to break away from its colonial rulers and, you know, and have more power for themselves. And so, yeah, enough about that. Anyways, like I mentioned earlier, there was a communist uprising in 1926 and 1927. Tom Malacca actually at that time was against that. He said he didn't feel like the Communist Party had the numbers yet, and so that uprising was actually put down pretty easily. And unfortunately, that was kind of a foreshadowing of what was going to happen to the communists in 1965, when Sukarno was on his way out the door, and the second president, Suharto, was coming to power. And during that time, when Sukarno was about to be booted out of office and Suharto was coming in, there was an attempted coup. I talked about this in another previous video, but the communists were blamed on this attempted coup that killed 7 generals, and what took place in the next 6 months was basically a genocide here in Indonesia. Anywhere from 500,000 to 1.5 million accused and so-called leftists and communists were hunted down and killed. And you won't read that in any textbooks either. And so when the Suharto regime took power here in Indonesia, they did everything they could to eliminate the communists. The PKI, the Communist Party, was banned, and it's still illegal to this day. And any prominent figures associated with the PKI, like Tom Malacca, were essentially erased and forgotten. And so that is why you do not hear the name Tom Malacca here in Indonesia anymore. Tom Malacca? Probably not. Whoever that is looks like a badass though. Okay, this is Pangeran Diponegoro, born in 1785, a long time before Indonesia gained its independence. Wow. Said he was exiled to several regions in Indonesia, and in 1834 he was transferred to the Fort Rotterdam in Makassar, where he died in 1855. Merdeka. Okay. Should we try to go in? Let's do that. Right here?
Yeah.
1, 2, 3.
All right. Selfie?
Selfie.
All right. I don't have time to go inside, so maybe I'll come back and do that. I actually have to go to Kota Tua. I got to go to immigration. And so I did that yesterday. I actually stayed in the same hostel that I stayed at last year in Kota Tua. Same hostel, same room. Kind of creepy. At around the same time too. I mean, I came back to Indonesia in March, so it's really weird. And so it turns out there's an immigration office right next door to that hostel. And so this is the first time I've had to renew my visa by myself in Indonesia. Usually I go through an agency in Bali and they kind of handle everything. And so this is my first time to do all this on my own. It's pretty much the same. I mean, when you do it in Bali, they take care of the first and third visit for you. The first visit being turning in your papers and all your documents and your passport. The second time you have to go, which is the one I have to do today, you do the interview, and they take a picture of you and they ask you a few questions. What are you doing in Indonesia? And blah blah blah. And then you have to go back a third time to pick up your visa. And so, if you go through an agency, they do the first part and the third part, and they'll return your visa for you. They'll return your passport for you. But I got to do that all on my own. So I got to take about a 30-minute GoJet to Kota Tua. So let's head that way. And so earlier, I just had a conversation with the guy, and he was like, I don't want to be on camera because I wanted to ask him some questions. He had called me out and he was like, oh, are you Nick? Are you the guy that makes YouTube videos? And I was like, yeah. I was like, hey, real quick, can I ask you a question? He was like, oh man, I don't want to be on video. I was like, okay, let me just ask you anyways. I was like, do you know who Tom Malacca is? He was like, oh yeah, he's one of the revolutionary fighters. He's one of the fathers of Indonesia. Like, he knew right away. And I was like, oh, okay, what is he most known for? And he was like, well, he's kind of known for having the communist ideology. And so I asked him, when did he learn about that? And he was like, well, I didn't learn about that until like around college. And so he said, for the most part, he didn't learn who Tom Malacca was in junior high or high school. It wasn't until later when he started learning about different philosophies and different ideologies and things like that, like Marxism and things, that he learned about Tom Malacca. And so I wish you could have heard what he had to say, but yeah. Okay, I need to call a GoJet, and we need to get out of here. One thing's for sure, this place is heavily armed. They got lots of police and police officers and whatnot here. And I like this truck here. They have the Burger King drive-thru sticker on this police truck right here. I don't know, I find that kind of funny. And one thing I've noticed here when using Grab, I don't have GoJet anymore, but when using Grab and these ride-sharing apps, is that they do a much better job of finding riders who are in the area. One of the most frustrating things when you would call a driver is it would show you all these motorbikes that are in the area, and then the person that would pick up your call would be way the hell somewhere like 10-15 minutes away. And so, oh, thank you. And so I've just noticed, I guess the app has done a lot better job of pinging the people who are in the vicinity to come pick you up. I can't go. I can't go.
You don't have time, huh?
No time. Thank you, though. Okay, hey. You see, I mean, I called this driver, and within 10 seconds, he replied to me, and he's already here. Incredible. Usually you'd have to wait at least 5 minutes, 5-10 minutes for somebody to make their way over here. So, good job, Grab. I don't really know if GoJet is doing that anymore, but... Hey, yes. All right, all done at the immigration office. Now I just have to come back on Friday, pick up my passport, and we should be good to go. But this would be the VOC, the Dutch East Indies headquarters here in Kota Tua. I've already made a video about this place, so if you want to check that out, you should. I don't feel like talking about it again. But, oh, hello. But yeah, from here, I'll probably start a new video. I just want to do some jalan-jalan, walk around outside of Kota Tua though, in some of the neighborhoods and some of the kampungs, because it's a pretty interesting area around here. And so that'll be in the next video, I think. So thanks for joining me in this video. Should be an interesting one, I think. Lots of discussion, lots of comments. So feel free to leave your thoughts in the comment section. And yeah, thanks for joining me. Hope wherever you are, you're doing well and staying safe. And I'll see you in the next video. Peace.